Admit. Well, earlier today, I spoke to Brian Henson of the Jim Henson Company. He is carrying on the family tradition of entertaining America's children while educating them at the same time. Listen to what he says. Brian Henson, great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. You know, one thing about the Henson empire, if I can call it that, such as it is, the Henson name, it's a little empire, but it's a little bit of an empire, is who owns what, when, where. I mean, it's funny because you guys at one point had to buy your name back from a German company, right?
Yeah, we decided to sell the company, I think it was '99. We had sort of two ways to go as a company, either get a lot bigger or get a lot smaller, or sell to a much bigger company. So at that point, we decided to sell the company to EMTV, which was a real international company. They very quickly started to do very badly, and we bought the company back again.
So you didn't like what they were doing with your product?
No, well, it wasn't so much that, but they did a couple of acquisitions right after us. They tried to buy Formula One racing, and anyway, the company sort of collapsed quickly, and so we bought the company back again, the family, 3.5, 4 years later.
Was it great to have the company back?
Well, yeah. At the same time, it was a big handful in '99. So when we bought the company back, it was absolutely great to have the company back. But then we sold the classic Muppets to Disney, because that was always about 80% of our business, and that was the area that we needed to be bigger. So now Disney manages the Muppets, and the Sesame Street characters, EMTV, while they own the company, sold those characters to Sesame Workshop, to the state of New York. So now, and which is all great for us. So now the Sesame Street Muppets belong to Sesame Street, and the Muppet Show, the classic Muppets, are managed and owned by Disney, and that's been great for us because it allowed us to make the company considerably smaller and just concentrate on new creations and new television shows and new movies.
But don't you miss the old guys? The old guys from Sesame Street and the you know.
Yes, and we're also still very much enmeshed with them. We still make all the puppets. The puppeteers are generally trained by us. So we're still always in touch with Sesame Street and Disney with the classic Muppets. But what's nice is not to be worrying so much about the managing of those big franchises. It really allows us to make new stuff. Which, you know,
I've always tried to get as high as I can in my career without becoming a manager. Because management is tough, isn't it?
Yeah, particularly for us creative types. Now my sister Lisa and I are co-CEOs, and that's good. So we've split the responsibility so we can both produce, and I'm also a director and writer, and we now get to do a lot more hands-on stuff.
Well, let's talk about what you're doing right now. We were talking before we went live about Bill and Cora Baird, who were puppeteers that inspired you because they were string puppeteers.
Yeah.
And that's what appeals to you, not so much the hand puppet stuff that we're familiar with the Muppets.
No, well, obviously I love hand puppets, and I directed, and I've done tons of hand puppeteering and still do, and directed some. But when I was a kid, and my dad was always doing the Muppets, and so we had hand puppets all around us, my father took me to Bill Baird shows here in New York. And I got so intrigued by the marionettes, the level they're more complex, a little bit more difficult to work.
Although for those who didn't know the Bairds, they would make it look so fluid that you really you couldn't remember that you were looking at puppets.
Yeah. No, they were very good, and that made me the sort of technical puppet guy in the family, and got me that led to me being involved with motorized puppets and the radio-controlled puppets and then the computer-controlled puppets, and that ultimately brought us to where we are now, where we're doing digital puppets, and that's the show that is about to premiere on PBS. We're doing a show called Sid the Science Kid, and it's to present science readiness to preschool kids, 3 to 6 years old, to try to get kids excited about science at a very early age, so it really...
And puppets always do it. There's something about puppets talking to kids where they listen much more than when people try to talk to kids,
yeah,
right?
I think that's true. Most people do. Even adults will listen better when it's a puppet, because they're more objective. But with this show, when you look at it, you won't really know that it's puppets, because it's 3D animation, but it's all performed in real time by puppeteers. And this is something we've been working on for about 15 years, the technology to enable puppeteers to, in real time, puppeteer 3D animation. So the show looks like 3D animation, but we can shoot the characters right down to their feet because it is 3D animation. It's not puppets where you have to block them from the waist down. And we produce the show as if it was a 3-camera shoot,
yeah,
with the crewing and the technique of a 3-camera shoot. And that allows us to produce the show very, very quickly, even though it's 3D animation. So it's something that we're very proud of. It's a whole new innovation in how to make television, and to do it at the same time that we're doing our first science curriculum show for PBS. It's just a really
sounds
nice
wonderful.
coming
They're
together.
giving me a rap. You know what that's about. But I just got to ask, the great thing about you Hensons is you see the influence. Your father was so heavily influential in your lives, but didn't try to impose his views necessarily, because you all have your own thing that you're into.
Yeah, we've all gone in lots of different directions and sort of stayed at home at the same time.
What a great family. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank
I really
you for having
appreciate
me.
it. Best of luck with your new project.
Thank you.